Welcome back to theory lesson number 9, where we're going to be taking a break from harmony and analysis, and we're going to be focusing more on the building blocks of music like rhythms and time signatures. What are rhythms? Rhythms are the order and placement of sound in time, whereas melodies or melodic material would be something like an A and a B, and what it sounds like when you hear both an A and a B together. Rhythms are the point in place in time where the notes are being played. Now, what you can see right down here, which I might have messed up and forgot the quarter note, this is supposed to be an example of all the rhythms. This is a whole note. A whole note is denoted by a circle that is empty on the inside. A half note is a quarter note, or a half note is a clear circle with a stem coming from it, while then you have a quarter note, which is a filled in circle with a stem coming from it. A eighth note has a flag, a 16th note has 2 flags, and a 32nd note has 3 flags. And if you didn't notice the pattern there, the smaller the note gets, the more it's being divided. Whole becomes half, which then becomes quarter, which then becomes eighth, 16th, 32nd, 64th, 128th notes. It keeps going on and on. What we have here is a rhythm tree, and please forgive me for how these kind of look a little wonky. This is just how I was able to get my creation software to make the stuff look like. So you have the whole note up here, which if you cut that in half, you get 2 half notes, which if you cut both of those in half, you get 4 quarter notes. Cut those in half again, you get 8 eighth notes. And if you cut those eighth notes in half, you get, ding, 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 16 16th notes, and so on into infinity. It's actually very important that every musician learn their rhythm tree so they can figure out what they are playing in any piece or any time. I also thought this might be a good point to bring up the fact that it's not just that there's a half note, a quarter note, and all those different notes. They're not exactly those rhythms. Let's say you want a half note and a half, you would just put a dot next to it. So instead of that half note being worth 3 quarter notes, or 2 quarter notes, now it is worth 3 quarter notes, which is 3/4 of a whole note. And music's actually kind of a lot of math and fractions in that kind of way, especially with rhythms. So anytime you have something like that, you could have a 16th note that's dotted, which means it's a 16th plus a 32nd note. And it will flag those together. And you would normally flag those together. That was just a little helpful extra tip I thought I might share. Okay, now in this example right here, we're not going to give it any tempo whatsoever, but this is 4 quarter notes. Counted 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a quarter note, 2 eighth notes, a quarter note, and 2 eighth notes, which would sound like so. Do da 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 dee, do day, day. What is a time signature? I bet you've been wondering when you've been analyzing that music, what is this thing right here in the music? This right here is just a key signature, which, take a guess at what this is? It's a treble clef. So, time signatures work they're like another version of the blueprint of music that key signatures are. So, you have 2 numbers. You have your top number and your bottom number. The top number represents how many beats are in a measure. So we have a 4 here, which means there are 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have a bottom number here, which is what note gets the beats. So if it's 4, 4, that means 4 quarter notes get the beats. So if it's 4, 4, that means 4 quarter notes gets the beats, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. So this is 4/4 time, which is an example of common time or simple time. It can also be represented by a C, just for common time. Next, we have 2/4 time, which can also be considered cut time. Instead of 4/4, you have 2/4, which means there are 2 beats of quarter notes. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You're going to actually see this a lot more often in march music. Could be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we have 4/4 here. The best way to think about 4/4 is it tends to be in a waltz. It's not going to always be in a waltz, but there's going to be 3 beats of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is a very popular form in most dance music, such as the scherzo, the rigodon, the waltz, and different dances like that. Now we're in complex time. So we're no longer dealing with subdivisions of 4. We're dealing with subdivisions of 8. 6, 8. So I want you to think real quick and think how you would count that. So if any of you thought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're technically right. That's kind of how we count it. That's a way in counting it, but it's not the simplest way. And in music, we want to cut out all the needless excessive stuff and simplify it as much as possible for us to understand it more. So there are 6 beats of 8 eighth notes. Well, what if we just thought about it as 2 dotted quarter notes, which equals 6 eighth notes? So instead of 1, 2, 3, we have do, 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 do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Or do da dee 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 do da dee. So that's another way of thinking about it in 6/8. Next we have complex time, which just means that it can't be divided into equal amounts. This is 7/8. Think about the way that you would count this. If you thought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's a very inefficient way of thinking about it, but that's okay. We're here to learn. So in complex time, we need to do a little bit more math. So we have 7 beats that are all eighth notes. So we can't go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Maybe what we should do instead is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Do da dee do day do day do da dee do day do day do da dee do day do day. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Today we went over rhythms and time signatures. In next week's video, we're going to be going over secondary dominant chords. There's going to also be a challenge composition this week that I'll be uploading later on.